Let's see where I need to shift y'all to. Shift a couple of things around here. See who hops on first. Eli, how you doing? I'll try and move you a little bit closer to the anvil here. All right. Hey, what's up? How you doing? What's up? What's up? So I went ahead and had the steel heating up in the forge before we started this to make it a little bit quicker. So y'all weren't waiting on me, waiting for this thing to heat up. So I had a few ideas for what I was going to work with right off the bat, and I decided to go with a large piece of 5160. This is the same steel that I made the Fantasy Challenge build with. What's up, DL? What's up, Monkey? What's up, the best life? So it's the same steel I used for that. It's about 1/4 of an inch thick right off the bat, about 2 5/8 inch tall, and about 15 inches long. And we are going to forge it down into a very large sax sword type deal. I'm going to show y'all. What's up, Steve? So we're going to do something kind of like this right here. This is the goal. It's going to have a little bit of a belly in the actual profile here. It's going to have a little bit of a belly. It's not going to be absolutely flat. What's up, Travis? So the goal here is to do something traditional, but with a nice fun flair to it. One of the things that I already did was forge a little bit on the tang just to make it easier for me to actually hold it. But we're going to start off by working on the tip a little bit. We're going to draw this back. And of course, for this right here, this is way too tall. So we're going to be forging this down quite a bit. So, of course, we're going to end up bringing this back to about right here. This needs to go down to where the highest point, I'll show you what high point we're talking about here. The highest point on the blade is going to be about 2 inches tall. So this section right here, from here to here, that's going to be about 2 inches tall. This section right here is going to be about 1/2 inch smaller than that. So it's going to flare out and then come into a point. What's up, Jeff? What's up, Craig? What's up, Jason? And I am going to be filming this. I've got the other camera on the tripod over here. So I'm going to be filming for the actual challenge video too. Gotta set that up so that I can actually film with it. Now, this is a big piece of 5160 that we're gonna have to forge down into this, and it's gonna take some work to be able to get this where we need to go. My goal is for this to be about 1/4 of an inch thick at the spine. So that's a little bit easier than whenever we did this one. Whenever we did this one, we started with a 5/8 of an inch thick piece of steel, and we had to actually forge it down into that. So we started with 5/8 of an inch, and we had to forge it in, do all the distals and all that stuff. This, we're starting off with about 1/4 of an inch thick stock. You're going from there. As everything starts soaking up the heat, the anvil starts soaking up the heat, we'll be able to forge for longer. Right now, we're at decent heat. I did have this warming up, so I wouldn't have to worry about it sucking all the heat out of the steel, but we're using the Fire Creek forge. This is about a 4-pound rounding hammer right here to do most of this. What's up, Chris? How you doing? Just like I always ask, what are y'all working on this week? What projects did y'all finish? And what are y'all planning on doing next week? So my goal here is to, again, get that rough profile. Not so much worried about planishing it right now. So you're going to see me do a little bit of forging where I've laid on its side flat and kind of putting things back in line, but I'm not planishing. I'm not trying to get something super even right now. I want to just get the steel to the place that we need it to be, and then we'll start focusing on making it look pretty. And we're going from the tip back. The only time you'll see me forging back down on the flat is just so that we don't mushroom out this too much and end up accidentally folding it down onto itself and creating a cold shut. You see I have one of the bigger bottles on here right now, as opposed to one of the smaller bottles. Let's see here. Working on one of your knives. Heck yeah, man. Looking forward to seeing that. Got 5 125 SC samurai billets. Currently ignoring because it's easier to watch YouTube. I feel that. Yeah, and that's what the wife's working on. The good old laundry. So there's probably a point where I'm going to have to actually open up the back of the forge. Right now I've got the back of the forge blocked off. Now, if y'all have seen the forge from the side, it's a deep forge. That's 18 inches deep. So it's a pretty big forge, but there's a chance that overall length I might end up having to open up the back side of it so that I can actually use the full 18 inches and then some. And then it will be cleaning things. Hey, and you also got to make some enchiladas too, so I don't know, we might be doing that after this. So one of the things that we're going to end up doing is, again, getting it into the profile roughly that we need, but then we're going to have to make sure and get everything positioned to where it needs to be. Right now I'm just trying to pull the steel down and give ourselves the point that we want. Whew. Moving the anvil. They say about guys with big forges than this. They do burn a lot of gas. What's up, Danny? Oh. Trying something new here with starting the live stream at 6 as opposed to 7. I'm doing good. I'm doing good, man. How you doing? And we'll see if a whole bunch of people hop on or not. Oh. Let's try and set this to where. Now we're recording on the other camera. Once we bring that tip down just a little bit more, we'll go ahead and start forging the rest of the body back. And then we'll end up cleaning everything up and start forging into bevels. Whew. Is this a decent view for y'all? Trying to make it to where y'all can actually see what I'm doing here a little bit closer than having y'all like up and back away. Okay, perfect. So once I go through and make this section the actual thickness that we need, you can see right now it's got kind of a dish to it. It's inset right here, wide on the two outsides. Once I smooth that down and get the even thickness, it's going to automatically draw that tip out by about an inch. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to start forging get this further in here. I'm gonna start forging back to the actual ricasso area. I'm gonna start forging from that tip point back and thinning that area. That's really gonna give us an idea of how long this is gonna be. I'm assuming that the blade length is gonna be about 20 inches. And I was shooting for originally about between 18 and 22. So if we get 20 or we get 22 out of it, it's just going to be a really big knife. Make sure my notifications are turned off so it doesn't just sit there and beep and go. Yeah, we'll see what happens with the amount of people logging on here. I know a lot of people have been used to me coming on at 7, but yeah, we have a lot less people viewing than we had for the last 3 weeks. Try and get the main body of this pretty warm because we're about to move a lot of material squeezing this. Now, of course, this would be a lot easier if I had a press or a power hammer, but I don't, so we're just gonna make it happen. Gradual thing right there. We already brought it down about 1/4 of an inch. As that starts to build heat into it, it's going to move pretty quick. In Florida, I like the 6 o'clock. That makes sense. Right, yeah, there'll be plenty of people trickling in after that. And I was hoping that it was going to snow. We were supposed to get snow today, tomorrow, I think. I was hoping it was going to do that. What really it just did was it got kind of cold. But I like the temperature. I've got just enough going right now that we have cracked open, that door open, and it's going to keep it pretty decent in here. I've had the forge going for a little while, so it's already pretty warm, pretty toasty. I've wanted to do this for a little while. Now, one of the things I am going to be doing that you'll end up seeing, I don't know if I'm going to do it in this live stream or if I'm going to save it for next week's live stream, but I've actually got the guillotine tool that goes in the party hole. That is what I'm going to use to do the fuller on this. So the actual fuller that's going to be going down this blade will be forged in. You'll absolutely see that in the video. What's up, motorcycle girl? How you doing? Man, if I was going for like a really big recurve buoy, whew, it's a big son of a gun. We got to bring that whole section down. Now, of course, what looks like it would be the, we're going to kind of play this by ear. I don't know which side just yet's going to end up being the spawn, but we're going to have fun. American? Yep, American. And yes, new toll alerts. Like, I've been wanting one of these for a while, and I think that that's going to be awesome for that fuller. And it's nice because it fits perfectly into here. So that's going to be a good tool. We're going to have some new tools whenever I get back from Blade Show too. I've got 2 Bastards 4s and picking up a couple more hammers from them. It's going to be pretty cool. He's the one that makes that straight peen that we have right here. The one that I do all my integral bolsters with. So we're heating it back up. Right now we're trying to thin the main body of it. I'm wondering how much length we've got just by doing that. Let's grab the old tape measure here. So we've already gained an inch in length, and we haven't even really started getting to where we want it to be. So how's everybody doing? We got some new people hopping in. What's up? From Russia? Heck yeah. What time is it in Russia? Have I ever made a sword? I've made several swords. I really like making swords. I've made things from wakazashis to smaller swords. This is the one that I made to literally cut branches off my tree. So it's a wakazashi that, if you see the actual bevels here, this thing's been used and abused, but that was one of the first swords that I ever made. Of course, it's a smaller sword, but I've made full-size ones and smaller ones like that. This is technically just going to be a really big knife. Again, for the guys that are just hopping on here, the goal is for a sax, a pretty big sax, like this right here. I have not made a medieval type sword. I've made a few, Japanese inspired and different things like that. What's up, Matt? But yeah, I use that to literally cut branches off my tree. And it is a blast to use. Bringing that down. Okay, what I'm going to do is I'm going to mark my anvil with the size that I want that piece to come down to. That's going to make my life a little bit easier. So I want that section to be about 1.5 inches. I'm going to go with right at about 1 5/8 inches mark on here. Mark it a couple of different ways. And that'll give me the actual width that I want, or the height that I want, and what's going to be the ricasso. Now, of course, these don't technically have ricassos, Viking saxes. The cutting edge pretty much runs all the way into the guard, or the kind of like the front cap bolster area. Ice fishing right now, that sounds awesome, Mule. What's the most recent? So the most recent sword that I did was, it's like a really big Quaken. I did it for the Samurai Challenge. It's pretty cool. This is for the Viking Challenge. So the last one that I did was for the Samurai Challenge. Keep bringing this down. We need to come down about another 1/4 inch. So a lot of the part that we're doing right now is just getting the profile roughly to where we want it. And then we'll start doing things like flattening the whole entire blade out and getting it one uniform thickness. Once we get the uniform thickness, so we're going to get the rough profile, then we're going to forge it flat and get the actual thickness that we want all the way down it, and then we'll start doing things like refining it and doing stuff like that. But you know, we want to go through and make sure that by the time it's all said and done, that we can forge it and do all the distals and do anything that we want to do to it, bevels, all that stuff. But right now, I've got to get the overall profile roughly where I want it, and then get the thickness even throughout the whole entire piece of steel, and then forge the profile better and go from there. We're not refining anything yet. Almost there. Almost perfect on there. Okay, put it back in here. Now what I'm going to do on this next heat is I'm going to go ahead and start forging it one uniform thickness. That's going to be a pretty simple process-ish. So we're going to come across, and while we're doing this, what's going to end up happening is whenever you create that, let's see if I have, okay, here. This is a perfect map for me to show you what I'm talking about here. So whenever you're forging on the top and the bottom, it flares out like this. So it becomes kind of like a eye shape, where it mushrooms out on the top and it mushrooms out on the bottom. All right, this I did it on purpose because I wanted this particular profile for this handle. But what you got to do is you got to get this stuff forged back into the blade. And what happens is this is going to forge out a little bit. It's going to go this way. It's going to go this way. What we're trying to do is get it all to go one direction. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to come in on all the way down the spine and the cutting edge with the straight peen right here, and we're going to try and drive all of this stuff, all of this flare out piece right here into the length of the blade as opposed to into the height. So it's going to be pretty cool. That's the process that we're about to do. Now, remember, we're not exactly in the full-blown profile phase right now. We're in the getting it roughly to where we want it to get the steel moved to phase. So just like that, we have a whole bunch of material moving to the length of the steel as opposed to the height of the steel. Go back in. We're going to do that again, but on the other side. That's one of the things that I like about Two Bastards Forge. So this is called a fat peen. If you look at a lot of people's straight peens and cross peens, they have a narrow face to them. You see how much wider this is than this? I'll use this one to draw out the height of steel. So let's say like this piece right here where we had to get a lot of height. We come in with this hammer and we can draw down and back with it like that. But whenever we're trying to get a bunch of length and we don't want to put a bunch of sharp dents in it, we can actually use the fat peen like this, and it puts nice wide dents into it. Let's see here. Haven't caught anything. Oh man, that sucks. I'm sorry you haven't caught anything yet. And yes, we are making a very large sax blade. For the people that are hopped on right now, I'm going to show this to y'all too. So this is the rough profile that we're going for. Now, of course, it's going to be whatever length we end up with. This is just the rough profile that I want to do. It's kind of a more traditional profile of a sax, but then with my own flair onto it, because you know, what build have I done that hasn't had my own flair? It would just be weird if I didn't do a TRE version. Getting there. Now I'll tell you this stuff's going to be really awesome the moment that I end up getting like a press or a power hammer. Imagine how much faster I'd be able to do all this stuff. But my goal here was to, again, make something that is semi-classic. It is going to have my own flair. The handle material I'm going to get from Blade Show. I'm not going to be using what I have here. I'm going to be doing something slightly different. And I don't think anybody else is going to do the handle material that I'm going to use for this. And then the guard that's going to be on it, the front cap, is going to be out of wrought iron that I'm going to do a real long etch on, so it has a cool texture. And then, of course, we're going to be forging in the fuller that goes down it instead of grinding it in with the small wool attachment. It'll be my first time forging it. So you made the same anvil stand. it works real well, and it's super simple, isn't it? If you could choose one, what is your favorite blade that you've made thus far? My favorite one is going to be the Viking Challenge build. Not the Viking Challenge. That's this. The World of Warcraft knife that I did. What's up, Brandon? Yeah, I'm going to show y'all something real quick. For the people that are new, hang on for a second. Alright, for the people that are new to the channel, this was one of the challenge builds that I did right here. So that is one of my challenges. This is the fantasy challenge. And that's out of the same steel that I'm using right now. A lot of hand filing went into that. A lot of work went into making the dragon scales that go on down the spine there. But yeah, that is one of the challenge builds. Now this is 5160. This is a real knife. This is very sharp, and it is very stout. It's not just like a prop piece. So that was for the fantasy challenge that we did. And so for people who are newer to the channel and haven't seen like some of my more crazy custom stuff, that's one of them right there. You draw on this out a little bit. Again, right now, we're focusing on getting an even thickness throughout this. Now, I should probably show you this real quick. It's pretty easy to see how to do the thickness on this. You see all the center steel that's down the center here? That is still roughly the thickness that we're going for. So right now, I just need to get all that edge down to the center thickness and then go from there. Tongs are starting to get a little hot, so they're quenched. All right. Whew. We're getting a little spicy. Let's see here. One of the coolest blades. Thank you, Danny. Yeah, Matt has held that. Yeah, the fantasy one, that's one of my favorite ones. That will actually be for sale at this Blade Show Texas. I am going to be bringing that fantasy challenge build and a few of the other challenge builds, and I'm going to have them for sale at the table. I'm going to be at 13F. So for people who want to buy some of my more crazy stuff, I'm going to have a lot of YouTube builds there. It's been pretty cool. Again, for the people that are new to the live stream right now, this is the profile that we're going for. Kind of a traditional Viking sax on here. We're forging it out of a really big piece of 5160. And it's the same steel that I used to make that one. Woo. So it's gonna be pretty cool. Right now we're working on getting an even thickness throughout the blade. I'm going to go ahead and switch back to the big rounding hammer. Almost to a uniform thickness. And we'll start profiling some more. I'm wondering real quick before I heat that back up, I want to see how long we are now. So we've gained another inch. Right now we're at a 17-inch overall length. We started at 15 inches. We're going to get even more length as we start working on the profile. All right. Looks like Miss Nisha got a little popped off with the admin right there. I haven't seen or touched, but I voted for it. Heck yeah. What do you do to correct fish lips when you get them? So I'll tell you this, the easiest way to correct fish lips is to, and you're going to be like, what, Eric, come on now. Focus on the pre-work. What's the length? The length I'm aiming for is about 20 inches for the blade. But the prep work for your tip before you actually start forging will keep you from having to worry about fish lips. But let's say this. Let's say you do happen to get fish lips on the end of the blade, which means just how I showed this right here, where it's kind of like an I-beam right here. That's the end that he's talking about, the fish lips, to where it starts poking out and it kind of looks like fish lips. The tip goes like this instead of a point like that. If you get that, just go over to your 2x72, grind off the fish lips, and continue forging. And make your life easy. Remember, we're forging for a specific reason. If it starts getting a little wonky, just go ahead, correct it, use your other tools, and you'll be fine. But the easiest way to keep yourself from getting the fish lips, let's just get a piece of steel here. This is a piece of cool, nice Damascus right here. But let's say you're trying to forge this down to a tip. If you take the edge and you hang this off the edge of your anvil right here, and you forge up here, what's going to end up happening is it's going to push this section out. The center is going to push it out. So you're going to forge and pinch here, and it's going to flare the center out and give you a round profile like this. You're going to pinch here, and it's going to push the center out. And that's what's going to keep you from doing this. If you take it and you start forging directly on top here, forging this down, what's going to happen is this material's got to go somewhere. It's going to shoot out, it's going to shoot back, so it's going to try and do everything. If you're forging here, you're squeezing this material here. It's got to go somewhere. The material that's right here has to go somewhere. So what it's going to do is it's going to go outwards. It can't go up. It can't go down. So this material has to go here. So you come here. It's going to push this material forward. You go here. It's going to push this material up here forward, not the center. So hopefully that helps. Let's go ahead, grab it back out. Got a little bit more forging to do to flatten it all out. Using the almost 4-pound hammer. be afraid to get yourselves a big hammer. Okay, we got roughly a uniform thickness throughout the whole entire blade now. What I'm going to do is I'm going to start forging the profile. All we were worried about there was getting the thickness uniform. You see how it still has waves in it and everything like that? Don't worry about that. All we're going to do now is we're going to start getting everything to run in line. And what I'm going to start with is I'm going to forge from what would be the ricasso forward. And I'm just going to kind of get it to the profile that we need because I want to move as much of that material forward as possible. And then we'll start working on that tip and getting it all in line. So it's kind of the opposite of where we started. When we started, we were starting to forge the tip in and get that rough profile. And then we started moving our way back. Now we're going to do the reverse of that and start working our profile up to, I'll show you here. We're going to start working that profile from here up to this area here. And then we're going to start getting that tip. So weird trying to do this on here. Lined up. Now, one of the things that I wanted to tell y'all, because this was something that Steve Jennings had asked me, whenever you're forging a sword that is double bladed, so not double bladed, but it has double bevels on it, so it's got double edge, we'll go with that. If you're wanting to forge that like a dagger or something, and you're wanting to keep everything in line, one of the easiest things to forge first is the tip, and then as you're forging everything in, you can focus on how that tip's going and keep everything in line so that you're forging evenly on both sides as you're going down. Because if you start forging too much on one side, it's going to take that tip and move it to the other side. If you start forging too much on this side, it's going to move that tip this way. So it lets you kind of focus. You know, you start forging like this. Oh, it's getting too far. Forge this side. Oh, it's getting too far. Forge this side. And you'll be able to line it up at the end when it's all said and done. And there's a lot of people that want to be able to start forging the blades like that. That's what you got to focus on. It helps you make good decisions as you go. I did the double-bladed dagger, had a total of 4 edges on it because there's blades coming from both sides. That's one of the things that made that a lot easier. Scrolling across shorts, but they're alive because they're just PNG. All right, let's see here. Can you answer me? What are you doing? I am making a sax, a large sax. Let's see here. It kind of cracks me up the amount of people that hop on here to troll a little bit. Okay. So now we're going to be forging from this back end, start working our way forward. In sections, we're not going to be forging a whole bunch down it. We're going to try and keep it similar thickness and similar width as we go forward. And what's going to end up happening is during this section where I'm forging this down height-wise and width-wise or thickness-wise, it's just going to add length to the end. That still's got to go somewhere, so it's going to gradually move it down, and we're probably going to get out of this phase that I'm doing right now, we're probably going to get another length or inch out of the length, and we'll be at about 18-inch cutting edge. Again, my goal is for between 18 and 22 inches on the cutting edge. We're going to see how that goes. I've got plenty of material for the ricasso, for the tang area. So I don't have to worry about forging that right now. I can end up forging that later. Let's see here. What piece of material should you start with, or a size? So when it comes to the amount of material that you're going to need, the easiest way to do that is to start forging and figuring out how much material moves certain areas. But I can tell you this, when you're forging, all the steel is going to go somewhere. So let's say you draw out the profile that you want. You can actually leave your steel like 1.5 inches shorter, or cut a piece of steel 1.5 inches shorter than what that is. Because when you start forging in your tip, when you start forging in your handle, all the material in that rectangle has got to go somewhere. So when you start forging in the tip, that material is going to go into length. Start forging in your handle profile, that material is going to go into length. Okay? We started, when we made this really big cleaver-ish thing right here, we started with the piece that was only about this tall by about this long, with the tail hanging off about this long. And we were able to get all of this out of it because the material had to go somewhere. Now, of course, that was a 5/8 of an inch thick piece, but it really just depends on what you got going on there. You can do a lot with a little bit of material just by forging. Okay, let's continue forging this. Again. But typically what I do is I like to set myself up with a goal, not a 100% this is what I'm doing. And the whole point behind that is all I want to do is forge what makes me like excited when it comes to the profile and stuff like that. I will set up an idea for the actual profile. Let's say I'm shooting for a specific profile. What I'll do, Duck is, I think, out of town or something like that. So what I'll do if I'm shooting for a specific is you can barely see it, but I will draw the profile on one of my anvils. And as I'm forging, let's put these tongs back down. As I'm forging, I'm making a sax. I'm making, for anybody who's new to the live stream, we're going for something about like this right here. Traditional sax profile. Now, I will draw the profile on one of the anvils, and as I'm forging, I will go through and I will check it to that profile that I drew, and then go, oh, I need to move this a little bit here, a little bit there, until I get exactly to that profile. Makes it a lot easier. You know, use things like that to make things simple on you. As we're doing this, you'll start seeing the profile come to shape and to life. It's gradual. And I am assuming that I'm going to end up getting about another inch at least of length out of this as we go. Yeah, it's pretty hot. So we're forging this. we start hitting it the first time. It's going to be typically about between 1600 and 1800 degrees whenever I pull it out of the forge and start forging on it. And that's plenty hot to be able to do what you're going to do. Once it starts getting down to where it starts getting gray, you want to go ahead and put it back in the forge. What you will see me do is you'll see me move the material whenever it's bright, and then I'll turn it on its side and I'll planish a little bit when it starts getting a little gray, because those planishing blows are going to even things out but not put a ton of heavy hammer marks in it. Whenever you hammer on something that's glowing, it's going to put a big dent in it. If you're hammering on something that's a little bit gray, it'll put a more shallow dent in it and let you planish. So you're going to see me hitting both types. Yeah, so that's a bigger tank right here. So typically I go with a 5-gallon tank. This is a 10-gallon. Right there. And yeah, more hot, more soft. Correct. Real hot iron for a living. Cool day's work. I bet it is. Holy crap. If you're rolling it, I'll tell you right now, it's hot. Back in line. Now we can move to the next section, start thinning that out. Luckily, now that it's been able to be in the forge for quite a bit of time, it heats up pretty quick. In Alberta, we call them 30 pounders. That makes sense. And, you know, we call them a whole bunch of different stuff. I'm actually certified to deal with propane and things like that. So a lot of times whenever you go in and have propane filled, they don't actually do it the right way. What's under your anvil? So we have the anvil, about a full layer of silicone. So there's silicone underneath the entire anvil. It's just silicone with that you would put out of like a caulking gun. And then my base is a whole bunch of 2x12s that are sandwiched together. I have that for both my anvils. My other base is the same way for this one right here. And then that's a 170-pound Trenton Ajax anvil. And I'm from a place called Texas. That's where my accent is. St. John's, Newfoundland. That's awesome. How do I keep the ceiling from setting fire? It's got a long distance before it actually touches the ceiling. My shop is a little bit taller than a lot of people think that it is. Yeah, I'm happy that mine's not loud. I see a lot of people put like a magnet on the bottom of theirs, and it kind of tones the sound down a little bit, the pinging, and then I have a lot of people that wrap chains. If you just take and you put a layer of silicone, so just put your anvil on your base, draw with a marker the full outline of it, take the anvil off, and then fill that whole entire area with silicone, and then put your anvil back on. It will actually take a lot of that ring out of it and make it quieter. What is my less used tool? I would say the least used tool in the whole entire shop right now is this Grizzly 2x42. It's over behind the camera right here. But I would say my oscillating spindle sander, don't use that near as much. and this random sledge right here. I don't use that like ever. I use this. I got this whenever I first started forging. Good old Harbor Freight hammer. Everything else gets used pretty often. I need to come down quite a bit on the height of this. And she's still hot. For anybody that's wondering why I'm hammering on steel that looks darker than it is. I try and explain that to people sometimes because a lot of people think that I'll be hammering on it and it's as cold as something like this, but whenever you actually get it in the shadows, you realize that it's still bright. It's just my lighting messes with all that. Let's see here, what y'all saying? Do you know Indonesian country? I actually have a lot of people that view from the Indonesian area, especially the whole Asia area, South Africa, or say South Africa, so used to South America, and South America, Brazil. One of my largest groups that watch my videos are from Brazil. Gloves, yeah, I don't use gloves for any of this. So whenever I first started forging, I'd have to worry about things like blisters. I don't have to worry about those anymore. Once you forge enough without gloves, with big hammers, you don't have to worry about it. I am making a Viking sax. So this guy right here, that is our goal that we're working on. What's up, Jeff from Maine? How you doing? What's up, Daniel? Eric Rivera Mendez. I love that. That's very close to my name. My name's Eric Rivers, E-R-I-C-K. Same spelling. So Eric and then Rivers. That's pretty awesome. Can you maybe test it when it's done? Yeah, we're going to be testing it when it's done. It's going to go through 2x4s. It's going to go through an antler. It's going to go through a bunch of stuff. And we're going to have fun with this when it's done. Starting to thin out, starting to get roughly where we want it to be. Now let's see what we got lengthwise now. As we drop it, luckily it's got enough bend to it that it's pretty easy to pick up. All right, let's see here. So we've gained 3/4 of an inch in length already. Not bad. Oh, so right now we're focusing on We're focusing on getting the height down and then keeping it the same even thickness throughout the actual blade. It's going to make it a little bit easier for us. Who do I got in the Super Bowl, man? You might as well be asking me to speak politics over here. What's up? Got Indonesia in the house. Miss Rivers, wife of mine. Who do you got for the Super Bowl? Got a lot of people from Indonesia. I'm happy to have y'all here. Thank you for subbing, man. Got the Brazil in the house too. Same with red in their colors. About as neutral as you can get. From Poland, what's up? So let's see here. When you hit the hot steel, does it become more thin? Yes. So right now, we're going to, that's the goal. We're trying to thin it out a little bit and take the height down a little bit. We're kind of refining the profile just a little bit. And at this point right now, what we're focused on is this section right here. So from here down, that's the area that we're focused on. Now this is a rough idea. The blade's going to end up being slightly different profile than this, but this lets me at least show y'all what I'm going for here. So going to here, that's what we're focused on right now, and then we're going to end up drawing that tip out and getting this actual full profile. South Texas, love the hammer. Awesome. That hammer is from Fire Creek Forge, who also lives in Texas. Mr. Elijah over there. And then, of course, I'm in Texas. I'm in North Texas, a place called Wichita Falls. If you've ever been in the Air Force, you know where I live. Albania. What's up from Albania? That's awesome. Have you named your anvil? I have Brooks and Cooper. Anvil named Sophia. Heck yeah. That right there, I would go with Ajax. This is a Trenton Ajax, and I like the name Ajax. So it's a 170-pound Trenton Ajax. I'm pulling for the referees for the win. And yes, it's a sax style, sax profile. I have never broke a hammer while using it. I have hurt hammers whenever I was doing construction. So whenever I was framing houses, I broke a framing hammer before, but I haven't broke any of these. I've fixed broken hammers. I've got a planishing hammer or flattener that I've had to rehandle and things like that. Rip. I think I'm starting to get okay with how it flares out a little bit right now. One of the things that I need to do is kind of get the edges back in line, and then we'll start getting that tip worked to where we need it to be. That's going to actually be pretty simple. I say that, I'll explain what I'm talking about whenever we actually get into that part of it. Because what we're going to end up doing is making sure we have that nice, sharp, straight top point. I don't want to have to grind a whole lot off this profile. If I can only grind about 1/8 of an inch to 1/16 of an inch off the actual profile, I feel like we did something good. Let's see here. Ryan, I am making a sax. So I tried to make it a little bit more appealing than a normal one, Jason. So one of my pet peeves for when people make saxes, and of course I've done one like this. Whenever you make it, you a lot of them, you have a rectangle and they just cut a wedge off the front of it. So the cutting edge is completely straight. And I personally like the ones that have a little bit of a curve up to them. So I wanted it to have a little bit of a belly in this section right here, so it wasn't just straight, and I didn't want the spine to just go straight so where it was the same thickness throughout the actual blade here. I wanted this to come up a little bit, so we kind of wedged out and then came down and had a little bit of a curve. If you look up traditional saxes, what's up, Chloe? If you look at traditional saxes, it's a little bit more like those, except for this is going to be a large one. Most dangerous tool to use is the buffer. That's the scary tool. If you've seen people get hurt by those, the buffer's scary, and a lot of them can be very generic looking. Now, remember, what I'm doing with this one is I am going to be forging in the fullers too, so it's going to be a lot of forging. Restoring power outages, wow. One end for chopping down trees, and the back end for fighting off grizzlies. Right, that's what I'm talking about. All right, let's get this thickness even. That you'll see me do a lot, I'll be forging, and I'm forging in the same exact spot, but I'm moving the blade, so I'm not doing this. That's where you get a lot of fatigue. If you just go the same motion and move the blade, it makes it a lot easier. Now you'll have some points where you'll move it around a little bit, but just try and focus on hammering one spot. Imagine that you are a power hammer. If you were a power hammer or a press, you wouldn't be going all over the place. You move the steel and you just keep the machine in one spot. Can I send you a katana, like a whole katana for free? You can buy one from me. I do sell them. How much do you think it's going to weigh? This is going to be heavy. This is probably going to be a couple of pounds. It's not going to be a light one. For Furious Dragon over here speaking the truth. How are you going to sharpen it? So, of course, we're going to end up grinding in, refining bevels and things like that. I sharpen my blades. I've got a 1x30 setup right here. Show you this. I've got a dedicated 1 to where it's horizontal instead of vertical, and then I've got several that I use to sharpen with, and various grits and leather stropping belts. I've got a leather stropping belt on it right now. But yeah, that 1x30 does all my sharpening. If I need to, if I've got a broader edge, I will use my 2x72, my KMG. I find it hilarious that I'm wearing a Mare Braid shirt, but my grinder's a KMG. But our podcast, the Knives Templars podcast, that is sponsored by Mare Braid, and they give me free shirts. And I'm going to use a free shirt, because why wouldn't I? All right, let's keep making it smooth. So now my goal is to go ahead and get our tip where we want it. Now, what I'm going to do here is I'm going to end up shifting the tip quite a bit on this next heat. You'll be able to see what I mean with that. All right, I gotta swap the battery out on the old camera because I am recording this. One of the downsides to this Sony ZV-1 that I use is the battery life. And I should definitely set it up with a little battery backup or a battery bank to make my life a lot easier. But I am going to be showing this off in the actual video of the making of this. So this type of sax is a 800 1200 AD. Yep, what Chris said. How much do they sell for? Really depends. How long have I been blacksmithing? So a blacksmith wouldn't actually tell you that I'm a blacksmith. I'm more of a bladesmith than anything. But I will be doing more blacksmithing projects this year. But when it comes to this, I've been forging for a few years now. I've been really getting into this particular style of it and perfecting the craft for the last couple of years. Something that I wanted to really work for. Been repping TRE today. Wearing my TRE. Yeah, heck yeah, Jeff. What's up, Skyly? I got a nephew named Skyler. All right. So now come in. Start dropping this down. So now we're going to bring this section back to about right here. I want it to have more of a long clip to it. So once we get that profile to where we want it, your ears, you came to the wrong thing for quietness. We're forging. So I want it to have a more long tip to it. I just think that looks really good. Built a Straub machine with a 6-inch leather wheels and a small project box, variable speed. I can see you making that, Jeff or Jason. That's cool. And yes, definitely put some pictures on the TRE Facebook page. What's up, the OG Franchi? How you doing? Yeah, Jason's got some awesome ideas. So he also has a setup to where you could do a thermocouple and everything on your forge to be able to make sure you stay good even temps. It's pretty cool. Yeah, Jason's got a lot of good ideas. Okay, bring this back out. Get that slight belly forged in there. A little bit of planish. We're already getting the profile that we want. Still got a little bit to mess with. I'm going to go ahead and try and get it just a little bit longer. And then of course I want to planish the thickness a little bit more. Get that thickness even. But we have a nice cutting edge on it right now. And what I'll end up doing is how much was the forge? I built that. So I've got videos on my channel building the forges, but that's mine right there. It's 18 inches deep, and it's got a 4-inch wide by 6-inch tall internal chamber, double burner blowing from the side. The whole point behind the burners blowing from the side is it creates a vortex inside there. And it makes it to where the flames are not directly touching the material that you're working with. And the whole point behind that is whenever you're heat treating, you don't have to worry about putting a baffle in there, a piece of tube or an angle iron in order to keep the flames off of your steel while you're heat treating. The flame blows against that wall, down, comes back and rotates around like this. Makes nice even heat on the inside without a whole bunch of hot spots. Because the hot spots are technically on the wall and not on the base where this knife sits. Does it take much time to make a blade? I really don't get tired that much. I typically forge a lot whenever I'm doing it. But like this right here, a sword, I could forge for 6 hours if I have to. We're going to be forging for a couple of hours tonight. It's pretty simple. Not too crazy. Once you forge a lot, you'll get used to it. If someone asks what they should get to start forging, what should they start? I would say if you're going to start forging, get yourself one of these Vivor Akago anvils right here. This is like a 130 pounder that they sell. It's got a good face on it. It's got a good, nice flat face, decent horn, weird Pritchard hole placement, which is the hole that's in the top here, but a good hardy hole size right there. But get one of those, they're a pretty good price. And then get yourself a couple of hammers from Harbor Freight. You can watch videos. You can watch videos on how to turn a Harbor Freight sledge, like a mini sledge, like a 2 1/4 pound, 2.5 pound, into a rounding hammer, and also into a cross peen, straight peen. That's really all you got to get, and you'll be good to start off. And then of course, get yourself a forge or make a forge. My first forge, it's really bright. My first forge was not like this. I had like one built into an ammo can with easy fire bricks, things like that. You can look up single burner forge or a frosty T burner forge, and they'll show you exactly how to build your burners, what to get line wise, and you can make your own. And I have zero KO wool, refractory, or anything with this. This is all the fire bricks just stacked together like a set of Legos. And it's absolutely awesome. Now the difference is, you can't really see it, but this side brick is thinner. This is a very heavy duty fire brick. So that's good for almost 3,000 degrees. These are good for about 2,600. That's good for 3,000. It's extra thick. And I've got the video for the ammo can one. You know, that's one of my favorite little forges. A local guy has it now, and he still uses it to make knives today. Keep everything in line. And now what I'm going to do is I'm going to go ahead and start forging from here back and even that back up. I've got my rough profile that I want. I just want to go ahead and even the spine area down. So basically, I want to go through. I've got this roughly where I want it to be. I need to even this out a little bit, and then I'll be good. Now this is going to end up being a through tang construction. Shawl back on here. It's going to be a through tang construction, so the tang doesn't have to be super big. It's going to taper down to about a 1/4 of an inch square. That's going to go through the end of the handle and then be peened over. That's Nisha. She'll make you a comment cop too. I'm surprised she hasn't yet. What's up, Mel? How you doing? Mr. Volcano single burner. Yep. Sorry, I just saw that, Jason. The Mr. Volcano single burner. You can get that off of Amazon and call it done. Cutting edge down a little bit more. Don't want it to have too much of a belly. So right now what I'm taking out of this, you see this belly right here? I need to get that out of it. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to forge. I'm going to have that piece on the anvil. I'm going to forge here. And it's going to transfer down and flatten that out. We're just going to focus the heat of the forge onto that little area there. We'll get that evened out. What are you going to use the blade for after you finish it? So this is for the Viking challenge, the YouTube Knifemakers challenge, where we're doing Viking Inspired blades and things like that. Some people might make shields, some people might make helmets, some people might make great axes and swords and all that stuff. This is going to be for that challenge. And then once it's all said and done, I'll end up selling it. My first project for knife making was making a little sheep's foot knife out of a file. I actually have that video on the YouTube channel. It's the first knife I ever made, and that's from a while back. You know, as whenever I first started the channel, and I made that knife out of a file, and I think the handle material was off of like a Nordic track, some wood that was a nice hardwood from a Nordic track machine, like a rowing machine, and it's pretty simple. I got the pins from Lowe's. They were brass pins. I can't do a backflip. I'm like 40. We don't do backflips at this age. I'll break a hip. And yeah, I think it's starting to really look good. This is starting to look like a blade. Okay, so now we come in, I'm a forge here. We're going to take that little belly out. Okay, now I need to work on this profile right here. I need to work on thinning this out just a little bit more. Now, of course, whenever I come in and I clean this up on the 2x72, we're going to get a nice profile out of it. One of the things that a lot of people think is that whenever you're forging, that you have to 100% forge to finish, which you can do. You know, it's 100% people's personal preference, but you do whatever you feel like you want to do. Don't do what everybody else wants to do. We're going pretty good here. Yeah, I want to taper this back just a little bit more and thin that out, because right now we're still about 1/8 of an inch wide at what would be the ricasso part of this, which is just the base of the blade. I want to taper that out just a little bit more. I'm happy that we've had a pretty good showing tonight. It's awesome. This blade is for, yep. Thank you, splitters, or splitting slices. Yep, fantasy, chopper. Oh, and for the people that are, I do have this out here. I showed it off earlier. This is the one that I did for the fantasy challenge. Out of the same steel that we're forging tonight. This was the fantasy challenge build. A lot of file work. Got dragon scales on the spine. Bone handle. It's been stabilized. That's out of 5160. But yeah, I've done every single one of the challenges. This is one of my favorite ones that I've done. This was the fantasy build off right here. I wanted to do something that was kind of World of Warcraft inspired. And yeah, this was one that I made. This is one of my builds. That'll actually be for sale at the Blade Show in Texas the end of this month. I'm taking that one with me and a few of the other challenge builds. Alright, move this camera out of the way. I think I got enough footage for the actual video now. Thank you, Splitting Slices. What's up, Glamour Out Goldie? How you doing? What's up, J Fett? The beer vendors always have a good game. True. How much money you make? Animals are 1910. I want 1833. I don't know what that means exactly. What's up, Riley? How you doing? Bring this back some more. So now what I'm going to do is I'm going to switch to holding it from the point, from the tip. We're going to start forging from there. I want to get that area that's back here. I just want to taper that down just a little bit more right there. All right, Jeff, it's awesome seeing you or talking to you. Who is this Swift guy everyone is talking about? Luckily, my neighbors are awesome. They do not care that I'm out here doing this. I've got awesome neighbors on one side and awesome neighbors over here, and then an extended family member behind me. And I've made them knives, and they absolutely love me over here. So I work on all of the. I'm the guy that fixes stuff. So whenever neighbor's lawnmower messes up, I fix the lawnmower. Whenever a fence thing messes up, or their doorbell camera, or something messes up on their houses to the other side, I fix their stuff. And so it makes it a lot easier. And yeah, it's not super late. We started at 6, and so it's what, like 7:30, almost 8 o'clock right now. So it's not that late here, although it's like pitch black outside. Getting there. Still need a little bit more work done. I still need to clean up the cutting edge a little bit too. Make sure that looks good. Do I offer to sharpen my neighbor's knives? And if they want their knife sharpened, I do it. But like I said, I do other stuff for them too. I make sure that lawnmowers are working, that stuff that they don't know how to work on gets done. Things that are super tall that they can't reach, I do that. It's all women. So there's 2 ladies that were best friends for a long time that live next to me over here. Both their husbands passed away, and they moved in together to kind of combine incomes, be able to take care of bills. And so they live over here. They're awesome. The one that's on the other side is a single mother with an awesome son. And then the lady that's behind me is, again, a widow. And I just help take care of anything they need to help with. And it keeps everybody on my good side. Where can I buy this? So this will be for sale on my website once I get it done with this challenge. I was not on Forged in Fire. I've got a lot of friends that have won it, but I've not been on there yet. Was eating dinner with son. The neighbor called. Left the hot plate on. Crown horse. Just got back. Dang, you had a whole lot going on there. Keep getting things in line. I'm going to straighten this tang up a little bit. We got a decent even thickness now throughout the blade here. That taper that comes down to where the handle is going to be. We're looking good. As you can see here, we still have a little bit of a dish in the center here. So I still need to clean this up just a little bit. Plus, our profile on our cutting edge is not exactly perfect yet. I want to clean that up a little bit. Could I clean up all of this on the 2x72? Yes, I could, but I kind of want to work on it right now. We still got time in the forging, so it's like, why not go ahead and just clean it up? We do have a pretty uniform thickness. We just need to go ahead and make sure everything is planished all together, and then it looks good. So I'm going to do a little bit more planishing, and then we're going to work on that cutting edge just a little bit more, get it in line. We should be pretty good. We are making a sax, so a Viking sax. Again, for people who are just hopping on here, we're going for something similar to this. This is our end result goal. We're at Chaw. So we're going to have some blast with that, or have a blast making that. What I might do on the next live stream is, and I'll leave this kind of up to y'all, I can either do one of two things. I can either forge in the fullers on the next live stream and do a little bit more work to this blade. I can do that, or we can forge a completely new profile. So what kind of handle? That's going to be a surprise. So I can't tell you what the handle is just yet. I'll be picking that up from Blade Show, Texas. I got to pick out the right one. So we'll see how that goes. The handle is not pink. But yes, I'll be picking the it's going to be something that you typically don't see on a Viking sax. I can put it that way. You know, we still have to have my own flair to this. A lot of these are planishing blows right now. Just cleaning up the thickness, making it more uniform. Go ahead and switch it back to holding it from the tang side. Y'all can get a look at the profile right now. Still got some clean up to do. I like it. Let's see here. Okay. for one, let me adjust something real quick. I gotta tighten up this little piece right here. There we go. That way I don't keep lowering down. All right, so how do you learn to weld and make weapons out of steel? I was a knife collector before I was a knife maker. I have a lot of edged tools. I've got a lot of things like that. And one of my things was just working on making things that I really like. Being a knife collector who makes knives, I can make anything that I ever wanted. And like if I couldn't afford it or something like that, I just make it. It makes it a lot easier and way more awesome. Let's see here. What temp do I run my forge at? Right now, my forge is probably running at about 1900 degrees, between 1900 and 2000. Do I ever get dirty? Yes, I do, but my shop tends to stay pretty clean. All the stuff you see on the floor here is just like oil from quenching and things like that. That's oil spots, but you could probably eat off my floor most of the time. I sweep it often, and I like to keep the shop clean and organized. I'm super into organizing things and keeping it clean. What type of steel? So this right here is out of 5160. Seen a knife Chris Jones made with the jawbone. Yeah, the one that glows in the dark. It's awesome. What's the longest project that I did? I have a double-bladed dagger. That's the longest thing that I've made. And it literally has a full-size sword on one side and then like a full-size dagger on the other side, and the handle's in the center. I call it the Darth Maul dagger because it's blade off the back and huge blade off the front. So it's two daggers and one blade. Got Miss Rivers out here. Oh yeah, here I'll show you these. She brought out some stuff for me to show and tell y'all. There we go. All right. Yeah, so here's a cool one. I've had this one for a while. This is the first challenge that we did, is the Gayuto challenge. Yeah, this is copper 15 and 20. Right there. It's dusty as all get out. But yeah, that is the Gayuto challenge that I did. This is a good looking chef's knife. I've had this for a long time. That was a fun forging project. And then this was the last challenge that we did. It's up in the very top back.
I'm too sure.
So this right here is it's like a really big Quaking. It's full tang. Tang comes all the way through the very back. It's a very long full tang handle. Guard. And then of course, full wrap on the handle. And this is kind of cool. It tapers two different ways. So it's oval this way and then oval this way. So when your hands are holding it, your hand actually holds this way. So it's this way and then this way back here, and it makes for an awesome motion. This one is weighted right at the guard. So whenever you're going through and you're swinging with this, you come in, easily pull it back. And that's out of 5160 right there. That will be at Blade Show, Texas. And yes, I can send anything to the UK. I've sent them to Belgium and all kinds of different things. See here. But yeah, that's one of my favorite ones. So when it comes to that sword that I just showed you, that's going to be for sale for right at $1,000. Some people think that might be a lot. Some people think that might not be much, but $1,000 for that sword. I made that after there's a hatchet on my wall. I made that while I had a wound on my ankle from chopping into my ankle with a hatchet on accident. I'm just refining the tip a little bit to get it more like I want. Just kind of fixing the profile just a little bit here. So what am I making? I am making a Viking sax style blade, similar to this profile right here. Slightly different because that was just me drawing it so that I could show you what I was going to be doing. The measurements on this are slightly different. Okay, here. She brought the Darth Maul dagger for y'all. So this is what I call the Darth Maul dagger. That right there is my double-bladed dagger with the handle in the center. This is camel bone that's been hand filed. With a basket weave pattern all the way into the ricassos, around the sides. That right there is my Darth Maul dagger. This is very dangerous. If you hit somebody with this, or you hit something with this, think about this. The blade back here is pointed at you. But yeah, if you ever wanted to try and grind four bevels on both sides, there's a total of 8 bevels on this that I had to keep centered. But yeah, that's the for the dagger challenge that we did. That's the double-bladed dagger, the Darth Maul dagger that I did for it. Literally a double-edged sword. Yep. That's one of my favorite things that I've made. So we forged the blade, forged the profile and all that, and then of course the rest of it was getting everything ground nice and even. This is 5160 right here, and it is Again, another one of my favorite things that I've made. I'm the one that I typically do some different stuff for the challenges. I don't go traditional for a lot of things. Like I'm gonna be doing something untraditional on this sax that we have here. When it comes to the handle profile and things like that, and the handle material. I think that we're roughly at where I want it to be profile wise. So we have a slight swoop on the belly. We got our nice sax profile going down the spine. So it comes up and then it comes down. And then we have that slight swerve up on the cutting edge there. I like that. I think that's going to be a good place for us. Now all I want to do is come in, planish it, make sure everything has a nice even thickness throughout it. So we're going to planish that, and then I'm going to go ahead and forge my tang down just a little bit in this video. Yes, that's about whenever they're due. Let's see here. I would drop that on my foot. I wouldn't drop it on my foot. It'd suck. Can you throw it like Darth Maul's lightsaber? Yes, you absolutely could. Is this something you do as a hobby? I'm actually a full-time knife maker. I also do life insurance, which is kind of hilarious. That I sell, I make knives and do all of this stuff, and then I also sell life insurance. we had a family member pass away about a year ago, and that is what let us know really that we needed to get life insurance. And whenever I started doing research on it, I realized that I didn't know hardly anything about it, and I kind of go head first into a lot of stuff. So I went ahead and got my life insurance license and everything, so that I can actually help people that don't understand the benefits of life insurance or anything like that, just like I didn't understand it. So I went through and I got licensed. Now I can teach people stuff like that, just like I teach people how to make knives. And it's pretty cool. But yes, I do knives and life insurance. Talk about a business card. That's a absolute epic business card. So whenever I'm planishing, we're not going to have it super hot during the planishing phase because we want to just smooth things out. We're not trying to move a bunch of steel, we're just trying to even. back in the fire. So, what am I making? We're doing a Viking Inspired sax. And I just want to say this, Splitting Slices, I really appreciate you coming in and actually giving a lot of the information that you're giving out. It's nice to have somebody in here doing that. So thank you for that. Thank you. This is my Two Bastards Forge hat. This is the guy who makes my straight peen hammer right here. Talking about a beautiful hammer. All the fat. And nice. Is it a Steve? How long did it take you to learn how to do this? It took me a while, but I'd say it took me over the first year to really get used to the actual, how useful different parts of the anvil were, the different hammers that I use, getting the right materials, the right hammers, and having the right forge setup. It took me about a year. And then it just kind of went on from there. Now I forge a lot of knives. I forge very often. Just got done doing about 30. So I do a lot of blades and knives. You know, I don't just do things like this. Hopefully I don't lose y'all. But all of these right here, these are all going to Blade Show. So camp knives, some EDCs, those are all hand forged. I've got some more up here. Everything like that. I've got some more like this that are in stages of needing to be hand sanded. This is my large camping EDC right here. And then this is one of my medium size EDCs. Also forged right here. Then this is one of the small EDCs right here. This is a thick one. This is 1/4 inch thick. It's out of ADC RB2. Has rich light, vintage rich light handles on it. Then we forge a whole bunch of other knives and profiles and stuff like that. Yeah, that larger one's one of my favorite blade profiles that I've done. Let's get this back out, continue planishing, evening it out, getting the thickness nice and good. Planishing, we're not swinging the hammer super hard. We're not coming from up here and really trying to move a bunch of material. We're just letting the hammer do its job. We're not trying to move a bunch of material. We're just trying to clean it up. You want to get good at doing like blade smithing. If you can get your planishing on point, you want to do some brute to forge knives. A lot of that comes into play by being able to planish, being able to make a nice even thickness throughout your blade. Switch to the other side. So one of the things that I like to do with my Brute to Forge knives, let's see here. So like, I get one that's a little bit thicker. So this right here, you can actually really see the spine. So this is a Brute to Forge. My goal is whenever it's almost, or whenever it's all said and done, is for you to not see a bunch of gaps. When you're looking at it from right here, you don't see a bunch of waves. Now you can see the texture on the ricasso and the flats, but my goal is whenever you're looking at this, that everything still is nice and even, and there's not a whole bunch of big indentions and waviness. I want it to be clean, not a whole bunch of heavy dents or anything like that. It keeps you from having to do more work later. Thank you, Gary. Thank you, OG Frenchie. By the way, if y'all haven't watched his channel, y'all should go, check him out. I just want to show y'all real quick. I'll switch tongs. Let's see, yeah. So this is what we're going for. We want a nice uniform thickness throughout the whole entire blade. Nice uniform thickness. Not a whole bunch of waves. We're not looking for a whole bunch of dents. We want it to be straight. We want it to be clean. You don't want to see any waves or anything like that. And a lot of that comes into play whenever you're going through and you're getting used to the whole planishing phase. We want it nice and straight. It's going to make our life a lot easier down the road. Now what I'm going to go ahead and do is I'm just going to go ahead and work on this tang just a little bit. Get that kind of where we want it. We're going to switch hammers. We're not going to use the big hammer for this. We're going to switch over to this guy right here. So that's by John Norwood, Old Creek Forge. Not Old Creek. Like Old Hickory Forge. I combined Elijah's channel and John's channel. Fire Creek Forge and Old Hickory Forge, and I made Old Creek Forge. We just made a whole new channel. So this is Old Hickory Forge, John Norwood. This is his cross peen that we have here. So we're going to use that. And what we're going to do, I actually like where we're at here because we're like straight on with the anvil. So we're going to be hanging it off the anvil. And we're going to be coming in and we're going to be smacking it to where we create a shoulder step down here and with the side of the hammer. We want the hammer to be even with the side of the anvil. I'll show you what I'm talking about. So if this is the anvil face, we want the two edges of this to be even. If you do this, what's going to happen is the material is going to move down and you're going to flatten the top. And what you're going to do is you're going to have a flat top and then a 90-degree angle here. If you come back here, you're going to put a 90-degree angle back here and then a 90-degree angle over here. So you need to be hitting it to where these two sides line up. So, get that tang up to temp, and then we'll start moving that around, kind of getting it centered up. Drop it off the side. Center it back up. Go back in. All right. 154 people watching right now. Holy cow. Look at y'all. So what we're going to be doing is we're just pulling out that tang a little bit as we go. Don't want to go too crazy right off the bat. We want to try to keep it even as we pull it back. I'm basically going to have it come down about 1/4 of an inch step down and back. We're just going to taper it back a little bit. What's going to end up happening is I'm only going to bring that tang back just a little bit, and then we're going to end up cutting a keyhole into it, and then I'm going to weld in another piece of steel. Because the tang itself that comes back and gets peened over is going to be a mild steel versus this steel that makes the whole entire blade. And I'll explain that more in like the video. I could explain it right now. It's not a big deal. So we're going to cut that out. I want that tang that goes all the way through. I do not want it to be heat treatable. I don't want it to be hardened. I want it to be able to be softer so that it's not one of those pieces that's going to break or anything like that. And it's just going to be easy. And it's going to actually peen over in the backside real easy versus the 5160. Whenever you actually see the through tang part of it. Go back in. Okay. I know that splitting slices is popping off and doing some awesome stuff. I love it. I mean, literally some of the best information just throwing out there is absolutely awesome. Yep, you have the Westinghouse micarta. Now that rich light that I use, absolutely love that stuff. And it is just some of the most beautiful handle material when it's all said and done. Do I smell tartar sauce? I don't smell tartar sauce at all because my wife does not like seafood. That's such a good profile. So that is where we're going to leave this. We'll switch tongs again. So that is almost a burn. My wife right now is going, oh my God, Eric, what are you doing? We'll grab it back here. So that right there is our profile. Got a nice, even, straight blade. Now you might be wondering to yourself, okay, Eric, why didn't you forge in the bevels? Well, for one, there's a certain few things that I want to do to this, and I want the thickness that I have it. Two, we still have to forge in the fullers. Now, the reason why I'm not forging the fullers in on this live stream is because I haven't had a chance to really work with that fullering tool yet, and I need to do some practicing on that before I go through and start doing it on this. I need to see, this is the same thing I'll tell everybody who wants to get into blacksmithing. You need to see what your tools do to the steel so that you know what you're going to do moving forward. So I always have this motto that says experience, learn, teach. You need to do the experience before you can learn what you're going to be doing. So you can only watch so many videos and people using this stuff without actually putting it into motion and being able to see what the tool does. I know for a fact whenever I forge in these fullers that what it's going to do is it's going to automatically widen my blade a little bit. Because that material, that fuller has to go somewhere. Whenever you pinch that material, it's got to go outwards. So I forged this profile down. What's up, Red Dragon? I forged this profile down just a little bit so that it can expand a little bit. Now, again, am I using a spring full? No. So this right here is the awesome guillotine tool that I got, which you can use it for integral bolsters or forging in fullers by putting the blade. Go ahead and we'll put a piece of this Damascus in here. So opening this up, putting the blade in here like that, and going through and hammering, and then moving the blade as you go. You forge in the fuller, so you're forging from both sides as opposed to just forging from one side or the other. So this right here, really cool. And this goes into your hardy hole. And then you can just take your blade, put it in here, hammer on the top of it. I'm going to be doing a whole video on this. I'm going to do a whole video showing how that works. and what I did to modify it to make it easier to use and to make it last longer. Plus, I'm going to be doing a modification to it to be able to cut in the shoulders going from an integral bolster down into the tang. So kind of a chisel cut piece, things like that. Can you make a knife? We just got done forging a whole entire sword. You want to see a cool knife for some people that have just came on? So the blade that we just got done forging was for the Viking challenge. This awesome guy right here was for the dagger challenge that we did. This is a double-bladed dagger. People who didn't get to see this earlier, I made this for the dagger challenge. I didn't think that one dagger was enough, so I made one that had two on it. And then, of course, that is dyed stabilized camel bone that I hand filed a basket weave pattern into. And then I've got one of the other challenge builds in here right now that a lot of people really like. I'll show that to you. So this one is for the fantasy challenge that we did. This is dragon scales that were hand filed and done into the spine there. And this has a bone handle. Definitely cool. So, I mean, it's one of those things where I like to do some more unique style things. And that's probably one of my favorite things to do. The one that I just showed you with the dragon scales on the spine, that was like a World of Warcraft inspired blade. And yeah, it's bone. So that is bone for the handle. It's real bone. It's not like a fake man-made bone or anything like that. It's bone that has been stabilized. And yep, camel bone is what it is. You can get them from Jantz. You can get them from a few different companies. I tend to get them from Blade Show. That gives you an idea of what's going to go on this Viking sax. So it's going to be something different. And I'm excited about it. Can I make a dragon scale, but make it fuller? I probably could. By a knife while scrolling. You know, sometimes you got to do that. Sometimes you gotta have a little bit of knives on your feeds. So we have those, and that's what I do. I'm a knife maker. I show people how to do that on YouTube. If you're new to here, I make all kinds of different knives. I make custom ones that go on my website. And I take the Blade Show and things like that. A lot of different stuff. The one that we were working on today was this profile right here, which is going to be a Viking sax. Now, what I typically do, okay, just for people who are new to the channel, if you subscribed yet or anything like that, tomorrow what I'm going to do is I'm going to go through and refine this profile a little bit, and then I'm going to upload a picture of it and as one of my comments. So it's going to be a community post, and you'll get to see it actually cleaned up a little bit with the profile cleaned up and everything like that. So you'll get to see that tomorrow. And I do that for all of them. I do it for all the different knives that I forge on the live streams. And the whole point behind that is so that you can actually see what it looks like. And it's fun. One of the ones that we're working on right now, this is one of the ones we did from the live stream. This has a very thick spine in the ricasso. We forged this on one of the live streams. It's got a taper to the tang and the tip. This is going to be one of the Shop Talk Tuesday, build series knives that we did. We just got done finishing one. I've got another one that I'm working on right now that's going to be released on this Tuesday. It's one of the knives that we forged on one of the live streams. I finished them on the Shop Talk Tuesday episodes. So this Tuesday, we're going to release an episode where we're actually finishing one of those builds. And if you're wondering what we're doing right now, we are annealing this blade. I'm going to go ahead and turn the forge off real quick. So we're annealing this so that it can get into its most relaxed state. So we heat it up to about 1600 degrees, and then we go through. Yeah, that's good there. I'll go ahead and bring my chair over for a second. So we go through and we anneal it to put it in its relaxed state. Where y'all doing? Where y'all at? Come over here real quick. And we go ahead and we do that. Now, I always do the videos into the Shop Talk Tuesday episodes so that you actually get to see them finished. Now, of course, the build that we're working on right now, this is going to be for the YouTube Knifemakers Challenge. This is the Viking Challenge. Like I said, this one was the Dagger Challenge right here. That was the Dagger Challenge. I did not want to make the dagger that everybody else is going to make. They were going to make a lot of blades that were going to be very similar. I wanted to do something that was completely different, that was completely dangerous. So that's why I did this. I tend to do that. I tend to make things that are slightly different than what everybody else is going to create. And it's kind of my jam. I like to do things that are going to be a little bit crazier and a little bit different. Now, I'll tell you this has stabbed me multiple times. In the process of making this, I stabbed myself and cut myself several times. This is a dangerous thing. Typically, whenever you're hand sanding, you can put it in your hand sanding vise and you can face the knife away from you. You can face the blade away from you. No matter how you're sanding this, there is a blade pointed at you. So if you take this and you try and turn the blade away, well, then this blade's pointing at you. Turn this blade away, this blade's pointing at you. If you try and swing this at something, this right here is going to try and stab all kinds of stuff. So if you think that Darth Maul had a good idea with his lightsaber, boy, he was crazy. Whenever you have another blade pointed at you, it's ridiculous. What, Matt is not allowed to touch that blade? Yeah, I love this. That's awesome, man. I'm happy that you came by and you got to see a few of the things. Now, like I said, I tend to do everything slightly different. I love doing things that are a little bit crazy. Now, the thing with these is these are not props. This is 5160 spring steel. This is 5160 spring steel. They are very sharp. They will do everything that a sword can do. And they're not just props or anything like that. You could take this and chop through a 2x4 if you wanted to chop through a 2x4 and then slice a tomato with it if you want to do that. Everything is fully built how it's supposed to be built. I just happened to throw a whole bunch of extra work into it to make it look absolutely super cool. And it's one of those things where I get a lot of pride out of making these and doing stuff that's different. We also do, of course, things that are more EDC related. We do things that, are camp knives inspired stuff. I do a little bit of everything. One of my favorite profiles that I have coming out right now, and I've got to make a bunch more of them. This is my large EDC / camp knife right here. This is one of my favorite profiles that we have out right now. I'm working on, I'm just refining it and getting it exactly how I want it. That right there is one of my, what's up Parker, how you doing? That's one of my favorite profiles right now. This is just a nice, clean knife, nothing crazy on it. It has a nice cutting edge. It's a nice size. Love that. This is also 5160. This is made out of the same steel that we are making this Viking sax out of. So this is the same steel that we did the double-bladed dagger out of. It's the same steel that we did the knife that is like the World of Warcraft inspired one. All 5160, and it's the same type of material. And yeah, this doesn't have a handle on it, but it will have a handle on it. This has an amazing piece of wood that's going to end up going on it. It's a thick enough blade that you could not put a handle on it because it is a 1/4 of an inch thick. at the spine. But it's just one of my things that's awesome. What's up, Tim? How you doing? What's up, Seal? How you doing? Show me some blade chaos. So, for one, hopefully you got to see some of the other stuff. Now, one of the one of the blades that I showed a minute ago, I have taken this one. I wish I could show it to y'all out here, but you wouldn't actually be able to see it. But this is my wakizashi that I made a while back. I use this purely for cutting branches off my trees. It has a lot of scratches on it. I have only ever stropped this. I've never sharpened it. I made it and I sharpened it at that point, and then I've only ever stropped it since then. And I've cut all kinds of trees with this right here, and it is very sharp. The last time I went through and I tested it on my leg to actually take the hair off, I cut myself, but I'm gonna show y'all this. You see all that? That is me shaving my leg right there. That is all the hair that just came off. And this is something that I cut tree branches with, okay? And it is no joke, a ridiculous build. I'm gonna show y'all something. I don't know how well y'all are gonna be able to see this. So let's bring you over here. So every branch that I have on here gets removed with this. So let's see if I can, every branch that gets taken off with this. And I'll take and I cut all of the low branches off, and I get everything up to where my fence line is. And I do all of that with this. If you're a knife maker, you can make whatever the heck you want to make and have a blast with it. Well, why the hell would I be using a normal thing whenever I can make something like this to trim trees? You know what I mean? I haven't made an obsidian blade, but I do plan on doing some flint knapping and things like that, where you can actually make obsidian knives and things like that. I will be doing some flint knapping here in the future. I plan on teaching myself how to do that, and I'm going to be showing you all that on the channel. That's something I've wanted to do for a while, but you can actually go through and make the flint knapped like blades out of obsidian. If you haven't watched that, you can look it up on YouTube, and they're really freaking cool. What type of steel do I use? I use a lot of 5160, but I also use 80 CRB2, 1080. I use round bars. I use octagonal bars. I use flat bars. I use leaf spring material. If you're going to use leaf spring material, make sure you research what that actual vehicle that the leaf springs came off of, so that you know what material you're working with. Working with questionable steel is kind of hard because you can't get the right heat treat. I'm very confident in the heat treats for the particular 5160s that I use, because I nailed that heat treat on that wakizashi to the point to where it has a 0 edge, which means it was sharpened after I got done hand sanding it. All I had to do was I just stropped it, and it has been that edge since I've had it. And what's up, Levi? How you doing? So a lot of the blades that I do, typically if I have an EDC, I tend to err on the harder blades. So my EDCs tend to be about 62 HRC, which is how hard they are. So I aim for about 62 to 63 HRC for my EDCs. Things that I carry myself. So this is my personal knife. Of course, I did not make this. This is by Kershaw. This is an American blade. It's not a one that was made overseas. So this is made out of Magna Cut. So this is a Magna Cut, made in USA. Absolutely love this one. Flip it out, button on there, just out the side. You don't have to do anything other than press a button. So this right here, I tend to err on What's up, Chris? How you doing? So I tend to err on the harder side. What's up, Sage? And I want my blades to be harder. So you'll have some people that'll make their blades in that like 58 to 59 hardness. On a camp knife, what I would do is I prefer to have my edge at about a 60 to 61, and then I will get the spine down. So I'll glue back the spine if need be. Thank you for subbing. Absolutely love that. And it's one of those things where, again, doing pretty good. How's your project going? It's going absolutely awesome. Absolutely awesome. I'm going to be showing you all pictures of this whenever I refine the profile a little bit tomorrow. So it'll be a community post. Make sure y'all check that out. So one of the things that I do, I tend to make them a little bit harder than normal. And thank you, gamers, for subbing. I absolutely love that. Let's see here. Show me your best pocket knife. So my best pocket knife, my most favorite and most used pocket knife is this Kershaw right here. So again, I was a knife collector. Thank you, Emily, for subbing there. So this again is my favorite one. Absolutely love this profile and this blade. This is my favorite one. It's got a deep carry pocket clip. This is a Kershaw. Absolutely love this blade. Again, it's got Magna Cut that's been stone washed. So I'll tell you again, for the one that we forged tonight, we're going for something like this right here. I'm going to show y'all something, okay? So I'm going to give you all kind of a sneak peek for the people that are here. The goal is something like this. Slightly different than this just a little bit. This was my sketched idea for the actual blade. Now it's going to be slightly different than that. It's going to be unique, and the hardware on it is going to be wrought iron. Now, if you don't know much about wrought iron, I'm going to show you a piece of it real quick. Hopefully I don't disconnect from y'all. Okay, I'm coming back over here. So wrought iron has all of these strands in it. So whenever you shear it, it's a whole bunch of strands. So what I'm going to do is I'm using this to make the guard and the hardware, and then I'm going to do a deep etch on it. And what it'll do is it will etch into those strands and have a really cool texture. It's going to have a really cool deep texture because I'm going to etch it for like 20 hours. And yes, that's wagon wheel right there. So we're going to have a real deep etch on it, and it's going to be super cool and super unique. And then what I'm going to do is you'll get to see the handle material. I'm going to be both live streaming whenever I'm at Blade Show, Texas. That's going to be on the 23rd and the 24th. I've got a table there. It's table 13F. If you want to come and actually purchase any of these, the different builds that I have for the YouTube challenges, they're going to be available for purchase there. But let's see what y'all are saying here. Yeah, so yes, raw iron is absolutely beautiful whenever you work with it. Not the radio fire con, yeah, for the wagon wheels. So this is a vintage wagon wheel from a covered wagon. This is the actual metal ring that was on the outside of it. So I'm going to have a bunch of things, but I'm going to end up doing the live stream from the actual show. So you'll actually get to see, and whenever I pick out the handle material for the Viking sacks, you'll be able to see it during that live stream. So I'm going to have that going on there. And it's going to be pretty cool. I'm excited about that. The guy that I'm actually going to be working with at the table is going to be Chad Kimmel. He makes some absolutely beautiful knives. You get a chance, go check him out on Instagram. Chad Kimmel, Kimmell. He makes some beautiful stuff. We're doing a collaboration build with myself and him. So show you this. I've got to do a little bit of work to it. This is a Damascus blade right here. You can see the layers right there. Integral bolster. This is going to be beautiful. It's going to have an awesome handle on it. It's a boina is the handle material. It's gonna be super cool. You're doing a Viking sword for yours. Doing mild steel for the fittings. Some engraving. Heck yeah, I'm super excited to see that. Hidden tang, yes. So this will be, it's not just going to be a hidden tang, it's going to be a through tang. So the tang is going to go all the way through the handle. It's going to have a butt cap, and then the tang is going to be peened over. So there's going to be epoxy on the with the handle material on there. That's going to hold it on. But we're also going to be peening over the tang. So the tang's going to come all the way through the handle, come through the butt cap, and then get peened over. So it'll have an actual physical mechanical bond on there as opposed to just the chemical one with the epoxy. So it's going to be pretty cool. It's going to be a full through tang on it. And I'm going to be showing the entire build in the actual build series, or the build for the Viking Challenge when we release the video. But I'll be showing y'all little pieces of it throughout the Shop Talk Tuesday builds and stuff like that. So you're going to get to see quite a bit of the stuff. What's up, Tim? How you doing? What's up, Crunchy? How you doing? And you're too just glad to have more time to finish this one compared to the last sword. I'll tell you right now, I'm way happy that I get to start now as opposed to how I did the last one. So the last challenge that we did, the Samurai Challenge, I took, not on purpose, okay, but this hatchet right here, that hatchet went into my ankle and took my ankle out. So I was chopping wood, and the hatchet, typically I have like lanyards on my stuff. The hatchet came out of my hand, hit the ground, flung back, and went straight into my ankle. And I had sharpened it like 2 minutes before that. So I'd only got a few hits on the wood. I sharpened it, and it went straight through, went through all the layers in the ankle, and had to get a whole bunch of stitches. It went deep, and it was not fun. But whenever I did the last Samurai Challenge, I'm actually like forging the whole entire sword, because I forged all that. I'm forging that sword, and I'm basically hopping on one leg. I'm walking like a zombie off of the Walking Dead. I'm just basically dragging one foot as I'm going through, using like a crutch and a cane and stuff like that, all while forging this sword. You should build an optical illusion with wood. That's actually a good idea. And then you don't talk about that. Yeah, so with the blade that I had to be careful with was this one. So this was the one that cut me the most. I got sliced, I got stabbed, I got poked in my arms, I got poked in my hands, I got sliced right around my ribs with this one. You know, there's not exactly a safe edge. Like your handle is about the only area that's safe here. Everything else is a pokey, slicey, cutty section. You can't really do anything else with this other than slice stuff. And whenever I did the test with this, I hung a whole bunch of I did a real life fruit ninja. So I hung a whole bunch of vegetables and fruits from the tree, and I went through and I sliced them and did all that stuff. So if you look up the dagger challenge, you'll see the build on this, and at the end of it, I actually use it to slice a whole bunch of stuff, and it's absolutely awesome. Yeah, what Matt Rich did right there, that little members VIP icon that he posted right there, that's one of the cantaloupes or whatever that I sliced through. I put faces on them and everything, but I did a real life fruit ninja. What's up, Anna Lee? How you doing? And it was absolutely a blast. But I'll tell you, with the ankle thing, it's healed really well. I got really lucky, and whenever it came in and it sliced into my ankle, if it would have went about a half an inch this way, it would have went through my Achilles tendon. If it would have went about half an inch this way, it would have went through the ligaments and tendons that go on the outside of your ankle. So it went right in between those. Now the downside is, because it was right in between those, it took a while for it to heal. I had to I went through a set of stitches. They removed those stitches. I had to get a whole nother set of stitches, because whenever you're walking, those two ligaments pull that apart, and I sliced straight through all the skin. And then I passed out in the vehicle on the way to the hospital. It was a whole mess. It was not fun. But it healed. I'm doing good. I got full mobility from my ankle back finally, and it's good. Well, Analia, it was awesome having you here. Grandpa, 49ers or Chiefs. We've had a lot of people talk about which team we're going for. Do we go for the Taylor Swift team, or do we go for the non-Taylor Swift team? What's up, Kelly? How you doing? Almost cut my finger out one time. How you feel? Yeah, it sucks. I broke my arm. Kelly, I'm sad that you broke your arm. Yeah, you see Miss Rivers over here. So we were able to get our Viking sacks rough profiled, nice and flat, nice and smooth. Like I said, tomorrow I'm gonna have a picture sent out so y'all can actually see how it turned out. What theme would you suggest for the next challenge? Frontier would be cool. I want to do a post-apocalyptic build. I want to do a post-apocalyptic challenge so bad because I think that a lot of people aren't gonna like that's my wheelhouse. I want to do a post-apocalyptic one more than almost any other challenge that we've done to date. I love the fantasy one because I got to do all my fun stuff with it. But being able to mess with the textures and all the different stuff we could do with the post-apocalyptic one, I think that would be absolutely awesome, and I want to make something that's absolutely crazy. There's a few builders that are in this challenge that I think are going to do really good. I'm actually happy that the guy from Dies in Every Film, his channel's on here, and I think that he is one of the most hilarious YouTubers out there, and I think it's really cool. But I'm really hoping that we actually do something like post-apocalyptic, and either that or something that is like, I don't know, like a pirate type challenge, like something where we have to make a cutlass or something that has a crazy guard on it. So, D guards and full shield guards, like a cutlass and all that. I think a pirate challenge and I think a post-apocalyptic challenge would probably be some of the best ones. What's up, Annalie? Welcome back. So yeah, I think those are going to be awesome ones. So Smiler, how you doing? But yeah, I think that just like Nisha said, my wife, I love working with reclaimed steels and materials. If y'all remember the samurai build that I did, so the samurai challenge, all of that stuff, everything that I used to make that was all in my shop already. So it was awesome. I had to think through a lot of different things. I had to really do something that was slightly different, and I loved that aspect of that build. So how do you say that? Is that Jai? Xiah? Is that Jai? I probably messed that up, but hi, how are you doing? So whenever we do this, I love doing the challenges and doing something that is a little bit crazy or a little bit different. I think that my Viking challenge build is going to be slightly different than some of the other guys. Now, I think that one of the guys is going to make a helmet, and that's going to be absolutely sick. I'm hoping that somebody does a shield. I think a shield build would be really cool. And then I hope that somebody does like a maul or a hammer build. And then I know we're going to have some people doing like the big super crazy swords. It's going to be awesome. And I'm excited about that. So I was thinking your samurai build was kind of crossover, post-apocalyptic materials used. Yeah, I agree with that. Armor would be really cool too. My samurai challenge, I wanted to do, my inspiration for that build was a Quaken. If you've ever seen what a Quaken looks like, you can look it up on Google. It's just Kwaiken, Kwaiken. So typically they're little smaller knives, I wanted to do something like that, but on a very big scale, sword length, full length, crazy handle. I wanted it to be super unique. And that's what I wanted. So Viking Blade next, following the Saturday will be live Blade Texas, correct? Hey Annalie, I hope you have a good day too. What's up, Skylar? To say it's easy, but to make it, it's hard. Yeah, that's true. But I want to do something unique with this particular Viking challenge. I've made, if you look up in my channel, I've actually already made a sax before that was a through tang, that was a simpler profile and design that had a really pretty handle on it with the butt cap, or with the front cap, butt cap on the handle, had a through tang that was pinned over and all that stuff. That turned out real nice. This is going to be a lot different than that. We're going to have a fuller on this one. I'm going to be doing runes into it, so I'm actually going to be doing actual runes, that Norse runes that actually say stuff in the actual blade itself. And then we're going to have some cool stuff going on here. I think it's going to be really nice. Is that your fave potato? What's up? How you doing? Now I'm bringing a whole bunch of stuff to Blade Show Texas. I'm bringing the Samurai Challenge sword. I might bring the double bladed dagger. I don't know just yet, but I'm bringing the Samurai Challenge sword. I'm bringing the challenge for the fantasy build, the World of Warcraft inspired one. I'm bringing a whole bunch of different YouTube builds that I've done in the past, kukris and different things like that. I'm going to have about 35 to 37 blades there, and a lot of them are going to be YouTube builds that have actual YouTube videos and series dedicated to them. I think it's going to be pretty cool. Out of like 99% of the blades that are going to be at Blade Show, mine will be of the 1% that actually have videos dedicated to how they were made. So when someone buys that actual knife, they will get to see the video and show the video of how it was made. It's going to be pretty cool. My table is 13F as in Frank, at Blade Show Texas, if y'all want to come out and say hi. And yes, Matt will be there with me. Matt Rich, he's going to be my side hustler. He's going to be hanging out with me. And then he's going to come back to the shop. We're going to be doing a hammer-in forging session. He's going to be my guinea pig for the hammer-ins. I'm going to teach him how to do some blacksmithing, some bladesmithing. We're going to swing some hammers and have some fun. I'm going to film that for y'all so y'all actually get to see that as well. He's going to be my guinea pig before I have people actually come here and teach them how to do bladesmithing. I will be doing classes at a certain point to where I actually have people come to the shop. We do a make and take. So basically I teach you how to make a knife. You design the knife. I help you refine that design for the knife. And then we forge it together. We put a handle on it, do all that stuff. So by the time that hammer in, or that experience for you actually coming in and making the knife, you get to actually take the knife with you that you actually forged. We're going to teach forging techniques, how to use the hammers, what the hammers do, how to use your anvil, things like that in those classes when we do it. And it's going to be fun. I'm going to do classes where we do EDCs, and then we'll do some more advanced ones where we actually forge integral bolstered knives and work with those and really work on your fine-tuning your hammer skills and stuff like that. So we're going to have some few things like that where I bring in a few people at a time and we do those classes. So it's going to be fun. I'm excited about doing that. Why am I teaching guinea pigs how to bladesmith? Because guinea pigs need to learn how to bladesmith. Can you say hi to your friend? What's your friend's name, Annalie? And hello, how you doing? So I learned a lot today. That's awesome, gamers. I'm happy for that. That's the things that I really shoot for with these live streams, is being able to get some good teaching moments in there. How do I do a push-up? Well, you don't do it like Chuck Norris, because when he does push-ups, he doesn't technically push himself up. He pushes the world down. So do the opposite of what Chuck Norris does. What's up, Talisa? How you doing? I do a lot of push-ups. I'm a push-up guy. I'm one of those guys that does push-ups every single day. It's my exercise of choice. I love doing push-ups. But it is absolutely it's been a fun. I've been loving these live streams, by the way, guys. Thank y'all so much for coming in and being a part of them and having a super active comment section. One of my favorite things about doing the live streams is being able to communicate to y'all, have these conversations, really have y'all talk and communicate to each other. I just love it. Your mom just got you doing this instead of doing your homework. Come on now, you got to do your homework. It's one of those things that I love doing stuff like this and actually being able to communicate. Doing the videos is really cool, but I don't get to interact with people during the process. I basically film by myself, do all this stuff, edit it, put it out, and then I get to talk to you all in the comment section. I've been really enjoying this particular part of YouTube, and hopefully y'all have had a blast being a part of it as well. Yes, Chris, you need to do live streams. Hopefully we'll get more people doing these as well. Not all of them need to be as long as what I do, but I'm having a blast forging every single weekend and being able to show y'all what I've been learning. I love it. What does my shirt say? It says Ameribraid. So they are a company that makes 2x72 grinders. They are one of the sponsors for the Knives Templar podcast. If y'all don't know what that is, it's just knives, as in I make knives that cut things. Templar, so Templar podcast. Knives Templar podcast. And what we do is, you're looking like Mr. Beast. I don't know. I'm not as cool as Mr. Beast. We do a podcast where we actually, me and a bunch of other knife makers. This last one that we just released today, it was an episode where we had the guy who makes some of my hammers. We had him on there. We also had the guy named Kyle Daly. He makes things like my sanding sticks. So the sanders that I use, he makes a lot of awesome, cool tools. We had both of them on there, and we had them answer questions. We had an innovator section, and it's really cool. The Knives Templars, super awesome. Also, if you are a fellow knife maker and you want a discount code for your abrasives, so your 2x72 belts, all those things, if you use, I think it's Templars 10 or Knives Templars 10, you'll get 10% off of your 2x72 belts from Phoenix Abrasives. And yes, you do need the sanding stick. Kyle Daly, it's KH Daly Knives. That's his website. I have his website in the description for every video that I release. You want to go check that out. Hi Macy, how you doing? So Kyle Daly makes awesome sanding sticks, and he doesn't just make those. For the guys that do a lot of hollow grinds, I'm going to show y'all a nifty tool real quick. Okay? Let me show y'all something. For people that have hollow grinds that need to hand sand them, these are called sanding buddies. So if you do a hollow grind and you need to get in there and sand your hollow grind, you use this for a 10-inch contact wheel hollow grind, this for a 12-inch contact wheel hollow grind, and you just do your sanding. He 3D prints these. They're really cool. Sanding buddies, absolutely awesome. Hand sanding sticks, things like that. I've also got another tool that I'm going to be getting from him that I'm going to have in another one of my videos that you can check out. He's just an awesome dude that makes cool stuff. Yeah, you went the other way and sponsored Ameribraid. You know, they don't sponsor my channel, but they do sponsor the podcast, and I do appreciate them for that. They do have a good discount. Now, I'll tell you this. If you listen to the podcast, you'll get the discount code for the Phoenix Abrasives, and then you'll also get one for Ameribraid. Now, the Ameribraid discount's pretty big. It is, I said, what's up, Macy? How you doing? So with the Ameribraid sponsor, it's a 20% discount off all of their accessories. So you need a small bowl attachment. You need a surface grinder or something like that, you get 20% off of those. So if something costs $1,000, you get $200. That's how math works off that particular tool. That's a pretty big discount for a company that doesn't technically need to hand out discounts. And I think that that's either Templar's 20 or Knives Templar's 20. It's one of the two. And you can put that in, you get a good discount on that. Same thing for Phoenix Abrasives for all your belts and stuff like that. I use a lot of their belts. I use their purple ceramic belts. So I've got a lot of belts that I use. My two main belts that I use quite a bit, they've got their awesome 36 grit purple ceramic belt. And then of course I get all of my surface conditioning belts. So just a big Scotch-Brite pad on a 2x72 belt. I get those from a Phoenix Abrasives, and they have good prices on there. How you doing, Macy? I'll say it again. How you doing, Macy? I think that a lot of the tools that you can get are just really cool that makers make. I tend to leave their links in the description whenever I use them. Again, one of my other guys that I use his hammer all the time. This is Frank Machado. He makes it's Two Bastards Forge. It's gun blued. It's got awesome facets. This is a fat peen, cross peen, or straight peen hammer. I've got another one coming from him that is a straight peen and a cross peen. I've got a 5-pound cross peen hammer coming from him. And got a few other things coming. I think y'all will like those. I also scooped up one of Brian House's, his hammers. It's a doghead hammer. Got that coming from him. So that's pretty cool. Super Bowl predictions. Man, y'all are on this Super Bowl thing. I think that sports teams, for one, I live in Texas. So whenever you live in Texas, even if the Cowboys are not in the Super Bowl, you say the Cowboys are going to win the Super Bowl this year. It's a thing. It's kind of ridiculous. It's kind of ridiculous. Every year, the Cowboys are going to win the Super Bowl. And then, of course, they don't ever win the Super Bowl. Of course, I grew up in an era of Troy Aikman, okay? But, yeah, the doghead, yep. The guns in Texas, I have a lot of them. I wish that YouTube would let me actually show that on here. And, man, I wish they would. But it's one of those things where if I could show how to build them and modify them and do that stuff, I would show y'all, but they don't allow that, so I don't show y'all how to do that stuff. They're really picky about that, and I'm not gonna kick the beehive on that. Hold on, somebody just made a longer comment. Let's see here. What is your opinion on fax machines? They seem like a outdated form of technology. What do you know? Fax machines are very outdated, and they're kind of annoying. For some reason, every single time I try to send a fax, it comes back and says that it didn't actually go through. Yes, I am in Texas. I'm in a city called Wichita Falls. If you've ever been in the Air Force and had to learn how to work on military airplanes, you were at Shepherd Air Force Base, and you were near my town, because my town is basically part of Shepherd Air Force Base. It's pretty cool. It's a small town. It's simple. I could be out in my shop doing my blacksmith and bladesmith and stuff and not have to worry about too much stuff. And I love it. There are a lot of gun channels on YouTube, but those channels are not monetized. You get demonetized very fast. See you later, Annalie. Ben, I have a few. I'm a collector of a lot of things. I collect knives, cars, and guns. That's about where I'm gonna leave that before my wife starts editing me out. She's gonna start telling me. She's gonna start bleeping things. The more that I talk about things that can get me thrown off of YouTube. And let's see here. You're in Arkansas. Small town life, definitely the way to go. It absolutely is. I am not a big city person. I like to be able to get to the stores in 5 minutes. If I can leave my house and go to a grocery store and be there in 5 minutes, and that's in traffic, then I'm in the right size town. Now the crazy thing is, I live in a town that's small. We're over 100,000 people, so it's not super small. I think we have like 180,000 people or something like that. But it's one of those things where the town has like 5 Walmarts, super centers. No, I think we have one, two, three. We have like 3 or 4 Walmarts, and that's big enough for me. You get any bigger than that, it's too much. um, can you see a knife? Okay, here. I'm going to show you two because people that have just chimed in, this isn't exactly a knife. This is a double-bladed dagger that I did for the Dagger Challenge that has camel bone for the handle material. And that is a double-bladed dagger. It's one of the most dangerous things that I've made. It's very sketchy. If you're swinging it this way, another blade is swinging towards you. I have made several karambits. I've made, whenever we did the buoy challenge, I made what I call a karam buoy. I made a buoy that had a karambit handle. And then, of course, there's another one for you. That is for the fantasy build-off that we did. As dragon scales on the spawn. Right there. And then, of course, a bone handle. Not all of my knives have bones. That just happens to have a camel bone. This just happens to have a camel bone. But I do a lot of handles that are normal handles as well. But yeah, I don't put bone on all of them. But for some of the builds where I'm trying to do something a little bit different that I know nobody else is going to do, I like to use different versions of bone on them. Let's see here. The dagger should come with a Kevlar suit. I agree. Make the Master Sword from Breath of the Wild. That would be pretty cool. I'll check that out and see about doing that. I've made a katana. I have not. I've made tantos and wakazashis and stuff like that. I haven't made a full length katana, but I have made several Japanese inspired blades. Do I have any military equipment? Well, yes, I do. I mean, heck, my quench tanks are ammo cans. So, I'm a big fan of military thrift stores. What's up, Bob the Builder? Not much, but hey, Bob the Builder absolutely built the shop that we're actually sitting in right now. This my wonderful shop that's in here. I did build this with my own 2 hands, and it is nice and it is useful. I like to do my thing with the building. Let's see here. If you do make the Master Sword, any chance I'd buy it? I'd love to pay 50 to 100. That'd be nice, wouldn't it? My day's going awesome, Andrew. How are you doing? Nice to have you here. Weezinator, how long does it take to make these? So I can tell you right now, the one that I did, which was the World of Warcraft kind of inspired, that had the dragon scales, I had 35 hours in hand filing those scales. So, and just the filing on that build alone was 35 hours. So it was a very, very in-depth amount of work between hand filing and handing. Got the kids waving at me through the back door over here. So to put all that work into it, it was probably one of my biggest challenges when it came to the amount of time that it took. Again, just that right there. I have 35 hours and all of the hand filing and everything that went into doing that, because I didn't want them to just kind of look 3D. I wanted them to look super 3D and be something that was super unique. And that was a lot of work. So this right here, this would be right at about $1,000 if somebody wanted to buy it. You're looking at about $1,000. So it's not cheap, but you definitely get something amazing for the price. It's a one-off. No one's ever made it. No one will ever make it again, and it's awesome. Which knife in the background do you want to see? Because there's a whole bunch of knives back there. Yes, I know. It's one of those things where just imagine if I only have 35 hours in just the spine. Uh, Imagine how much hours I have in all of the other stuff on that build, and then imagine how much I would pay myself an hour to actually make that knife. If I was going to pay myself more than $5 an hour, I mean, you got to think. If I was paying myself $10 an hour to make that one-off custom knife, if I have 35 hours in just the filing on it, that'd be $350 if I only paid myself $10 an hour to do hand filing for 35 hours. So, imagine that, okay? And then imagine somebody who's going to be doing hand filing like that. Would you only pay them $10 an hour? Or would you pay them more than $10 an hour? That's what you got to think about. But I've got camp knives. These tend to be a lot less. So camp knives here, EDCs, awesome curly maple handles with nice little chatoyance where you actually can see the like tiger stripes in the handle there. It kind of looks like a cat's eye, which is really cool. These, I make plenty of these. And these tend to go for between $280 and $350. And these are my EDCs. And of course, all of them are awesome steels and awesome woods that are stabilized. They're not just your random piece of wood. It's all stabilized maples and burls and things like that. And these are all blades that are heat treated to the point to where you can, if you need to cut a tree and then shave with it, you can do that. I just showed one of the ones that I did, my Wakizashi, that's right here. I cut tree branches with this, and you can still shave with it. I just showed that just a minute ago. Cutting a tree branch, I showed shaving with it and everything like that. It's awesome. But yeah, I make things like that, but then I also make smaller EDCs and stuff. There's a lot of stuff that I do. Standing next to the reactor. So it's fun. Man, we are at 3 hours and 16 minutes. I think it's time for me to go inside and get some food. What do y'all think? We've been on here for a while. What's up, David? How you doing? What's up, Letty? How you doing? It's been fun doing this. Seems like they are all powerful as a chainsaw. They are as powerful as a chainsaw. So it's pretty cool. I've enjoyed being on here tonight. We got the Viking sacks that we forged tonight, which again is like this profile right here. I will be showing y'all. I'll be showing y'all a picture of that tomorrow. So be on the lookout for that. I'm gonna be doing a community post, actually showing y'all it cleaned up, so you can see what it looks like. So be on the lookout for that. We'll have that tomorrow. And then this Tuesday, we're doing a Shop Talk Tuesday build where I'm finishing one of the other builds that we did, where we did a full integral knife. The entire knife is steel. There's no wood on it. The handle's steel. It was all forged to profile, the handle, everything. It's all integral. I'm going to be finishing up that video so that y'all have that on Tuesday. It's going to be heat treated. It's going to be hand sanded. It's going to be slicing stuff up, and we're going to be having fun with it. And then we've got another build that we're working on after that. So I think it's going to be cool. Hopefully, y'all have a fantastic rest of your Saturday, fantastic Sunday, and a fantastic week next week. I will see y'all on Tuesday with the Shop Talk Tuesday series, and I will also see y'all on Saturday next week. Make sure you come, hang out with the live stream, Y'all have an amazing, amazing, amazing week. I look forward to seeing y'all again. Y'all stay safe out there, and I will catch y'all next time. See y'all.